Scary.
It is scary. Okay, let me see. Let me see.
Right, okay.
Hello everyone. Okay, now it should be working, shouldn't it? Hello chat. Ooh, scary.
You're alive.
I'm alive? Yeah, I'm alive. Can you check if the link is actually, if everything is working?
Yeah, so yeah, I can see you. You are on the voice, and yeah, everything seems good.
Hello, hello. All right. So, welcome everybody. This is not my first time streaming, but it is definitely my first time streaming on YouTube, especially on the official Cascadeur channel. I'm very excited about it. I've got something prepared for you today, so hopefully it's going to be fun and you will be able to learn something. Maybe I will be able to learn something as well. So we are joined today by a guy with many names, but the name that we're going to be using today is Mr. Vagilito. Say hi, Vagilito.
Well, thank you to actually be using my name for once.
Yes, but that's...
So yeah, hey guys, working with Cascadeur in the industry and stuff, and looking forward to do stuff.
So Vagilito is not going to be just criticizing what I'm doing for the stream today. He will be also, you know, helping me with to follow the chat, because I do have the tendency of, you know, being very much preoccupied with whatever's going on my screen and not paying much attention to the chat. So yeah, hopefully he'll manage that.
Yeah, he's not a people person.
Not at all. I just said, like, say hi Vagilito. I should have said it in the manner I did for the say hi Cassie for the video. All right, so what do we have for you today? Oh, and by the way, do post questions. Let's keep it in the form of like literally a stream. So if you have questions, you know, you can sort of like always drop it there, and we'll try to either keep it in mind, answer straight away, or maybe, you know, show some example on Cascadeur right away. So let's keep it fun and have a good stream. So this is the animation in question. So you've probably seen it multiple times on our channel, not in the tutorials, but probably in one of the promo videos. Also, I was streaming this one a couple of times, I think, on my channel, but it just appears to be a very good example of you know, what we can do with animation. Of course, you'll say it's a high quality mocap, right? There's not much, you know, to clean up, but we're not going to be focusing on the cleanup processing rather than on the editing process. So what we can do to edit this animation, how we can utilize say auto posing, AutoPhysics, all those kinds of things, and you know, as we go through those things, I will try to, you know, give you as much inside knowledge as I can. So what things do what kinds of, what AutoPhysics filters do, you know, how you can utilize them in your work, and it's probably going to give you, you know, a good idea of what you can do with it. And
by the way, for the questions, is this live or pre-recorded? This is live, and of course it will be up on the channel. Moving down, we have a question about...
Is it live?
The famous,
oh my god.
It's, yeah, so the layers function that everyone wants. Well, in Cascadeur, you kind of don't need it. Layers are just a safety precaution in Blender. Of course, it has its use cases and are pretty non-destructive workflow. So that's always nice, but it's another workflow in Cascadeur, and as far as I know, I don't know if you know, Max, but if it's ever been something about actually adding that to Cascadeur.
I think, yeah, we've heard a lot about the layers. Currently the workflow that you can, if, for example, if you don't want to, or if you're afraid to make changes to the animation and not being able to come back, so something that I've been taught to do is to save, different stages of your projects, because like in this case, for example, right, you can link scenes together. So the same way you can save, the current animation, say I'm happy with it, or I want to use it as a reference, and you can just open it up inside the, as a separate project and use it, link it just to see the differences, or to keep it like at a safe state, and make changes to a new version. And also remember that you can always, hello there, you can always copy paste between the scenes. So should you have the same like skeleton, right, or the same character in both scenes, you can easily like go between them and copy one animation or poses onto another. So it's kind of like I think there could be something implemented with layers, but I don't know for sure at this point. But I could see how it could be useful. Yeah, see, it's like sometimes I have a base with variations and I'm using the variations for different characters, but then I want to adjust the base along with all the variations. That's a lot of rework. Well, true, yeah, but with this kind of workflow, it could be a little bit dodgy without using the layers. Yeah, I can see that. Good question. I love how people say this animation looks easy, but then you know what? We make a tutorial with an quote-unquote easy animation, and then we get like so many comments like saying, "You did not show the full process. How did you do that? How did you rig it? Did you import it?" Yes, we did. How? So yeah, it does look easy, but hopefully I can the things that I want to showcase is the way we got here and the ways we can go, further from here, so to speak. So I guess without further ado, we can start, shall we?
Yeah, and just for anyone that thinks either this is too hard or this is too easy, we are working on a new series that's gonna be responding to the questions that you comment on the videos, and then we're gonna be addressing them in a Q&A. So that will come up, and also we will have a beginner like getting stuff in, getting stuff out, implementing into Unreal. If it's a desire, we also could make implementing to Unity as well, and so on. And like, we're gonna be listening to the community and trying to fulfill all the wishes that you have, as this is a pretty young software all over, and we want to help with what we can.
That's a very good way to put it, like a very young software. It's young, it's not of age yet, so be careful. all right, so look, let's open up a new scene, and so this is where stuff starts happening. So once you have your mocap, right, and you import it in Cascadeur, not only this one has multiple characters, but also, for example, this particular mocap didn't have a T-pose. So it starts from, usually you will get a T-pose rather either at the very beginning of the animation or at the very end, depending on how you export it. So this one doesn't have any. So what we are going to do, unfortunately, there is no way to bring like a joint skeleton to a T-pose in Cascadeur as of now, but I think we've submitted this request because, for example, in say in Maya, so if we quickly go to Maya and import this scene here, you will see that in the, I think it's in the rigging, it's under rigging, with the skeleton, you would have something which is called assume preferred angle, which if it had been set before, you know, the character, the skeleton would be made in a T-pose, and the angle, the preferred angle would be set for the joints, then you can sort of like revert it back. A similar thing is like skinning. You can go to the bind pose, right? But in this case, we just don't have any geometry or any skin applied to the character. So we just have, I'm pressing X to play. We just have these characters, and just basically that's it. So going to my auto blender, right? You could probably do the current thing. So we are interested in this flipper guy because this is the guy who makes the flip, hence the name. You can go to, I think we want to go select hierarchy. So we want to select all the keys that this character has, and because I don't need them, what I want to get from this is just a T-pose, right? So I'm going to delete the keys for all the joins, and then once it's done, so we have no keyframes at all, we can select the root joint, and with skeleton we can go to assume preferred angle, and it puts it in a T-pose. Now the thing here to think about, so you have to I don't know if centering the character is very important for Cascadeur, so you can probably go and put it in the very center of the scene, but something you should definitely keep an eye out on is that you want the character's foot joints to be right on the like a zero level, like right on the ground, because for example, if they were, if you would export a character with, you know, this configuration, the feet, you know, slightly above the ground, it will assume that the feet have like some sort of like a platform, or for example you're wearing heels or something like this, right? So this is something that you have to keep an eye out on. Yeah, we can quickly do this by just raising it a little bit. As I assume, we can also do this in the orthographic view, right? For example, front. So this is good, but I would still, you know, lower it down just a little. Yeah, looks good. So now this one we actually export. So we don't need the whole scene, we just export our flipper guy in the T-pose, and we go export selection. Now if when in Blender, be very careful, because the FBX export in Blender, there's a what do you call it, there's a an option that is on by default, which is called something like add leaf joints or something like this. So what it does, that it adds joints to the end of the skeleton. So for example, you have like 3 joints or 4 joints in the fingers, it will add the 5th at the very end of the hierarchy. So you don't want that, because sometimes it breaks the skeleton, sometimes it makes it not being recognized automatically, for example, and it can cause some, you know, issues when actually rigging. All right. So we export this guy. Yep.
And for the Blender one, I will make a video for that, as the workflow, I've been using it for a while, and it's pretty straightforward. But like Max says, you have to think about the settings when exporting.
Here we just export selection, and we open up a new scene. And that's the fun part. I have to find it.
We actually have an interesting question here.
Okay.
Max, if you got some extra time, can you please show us how we can calculate the speed of a character in centimeters per second? Also, I always end up redoing the same animation a few times until I get the exact speed.
Oh shit! We need Duke. We need Duke on the call. He would appreciate a question like this. Well, it is true to say that so everything in so it's metric system in Cascadeur, and of course there's just thinking about the fulcrum points and the way the fulcrum points are evaluated. I know that it knows how fast things go. So for example, let me show you something. So if you go, for example, say. You select the points, right? And then you go into the fulcrum point tab. You have something which is called max speed value. So this is the distance which these points can travel within a single frame and still be considered fulcrum. So because Cascadeur evaluates this, there's definitely a way to learn, you know, or approximate the speed. However, I don't know how to do that, to be honest. But yeah,
but we have a technical team that's peeking these data in and out, and we can ask it and have it shown in the tutorial.
but look, you promise people so many tutorials. It's like by the end of this stream we'll be like, okay, there's a list of 50 tutorials we have to come up with by the end of next week. Let's do it. For example, look, right? So now these points are fulcrum, but then the character starts moving the foot and they are no longer fulcrum at this point. But if, say, we select some frames on like this, these frames where the foot moves, and for example set this max speed to say like instead of 1 centimeter to 10 centimeters, you could now see that, you know, it travels this distance, but the points are still recognized as fulcrum during because, you know, we allow it to travel bigger distance and still be considered fulcrum. So from this, I assume that Cascadeur can calculate speed, but it's going to be interesting to know how, actually. All right, so back to our things. Now, look, we have this flipper guy that we exported, which is just the skeleton. And I'm gonna drag and drop it. Yeah, we want to go into the rig mode. Ooh. Okay, interesting. Is it not working? Export flipper, yeah. It might be something with my export settings. I will just reset them to default. I think like yeah, what we probably need to do is again like select we want to select hierarchy, meaning select everything and then export it. Okay, export selection. Let's try this one. Okay, Mr. Vegelito, tell us a joke.
A joke on the spot? No.
Chat, tell us a joke. Okay.
Move AI?
What?
No, it was a joke.
Was it? All right. So we got our character here. Let's go to the quick rigging tool, right? So if we were working with a character, say with a skeleton imported from, say, Human IK, DAS 3D, it will be automatically recognized. Now, if you have this situation here where it's just like an you know, any kind of motion capture skeleton, you know, it's not recognized, but you can definitely just drag and drop the part of the character. So we want to rig we want to drag and drop just one side, so let it be left. So left leg. Also make sure that you enable this joint view or rig view here, so you could see, you know, you could either like select these points and drag and drop them, or you can use, what is it? Yeah, or you can just make sure that you're dragging and dropping the right bones, right? Okay, so with this one, it's spine 1. And again, you only have to do this once. Is it left shoulder? Good. Left arm. Forearm. Left hand. Okay, and then we're going for the neck and the head. Good. Now look at the way you know left and right is you know, look at the naming. So for us, left and right are just the words. Left with a capital L, uppercase L, and right with uppercase R. So what we want to do is that we want to put make sure it's you include the case because it's case sensitive. So we put left as the original, and then we put right as one we want to mirror, and then just click create mirror object. So now you have this kind of thing rigged all together. Now the same we have to do with the fingers, and this is a bit tedious, but again, you only have to do this once. We don't care about the end bones, so we care about 1, 2, and 3. So let's start with pinky, then go for ring finger.
I gotta say, it's so nice that like I don't have to worry about showing my screen, my camera, anything. Like I can just chill and see you struggle.
Am I struggling though? Chat, am I struggling? Do we believe this person? You know, having multiple names does not... Okay, and of course everybody likes to be lazy from time to time. I wish.
Oh, Daniel Quadra, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. You work with large mocap files and you ran into a 10,000 frame limit import. Will Cascadeur increase the limit? I actually had the same issue, and they are working on a solution where we don't only use the CPU but also can use the GPU, or at least get more out of the CPU. So this is something that's in the works, I know, and I will of course change that.
I would say even more. So for now, this is the thing. So once you have this, once you import the animation, it actually, for example, say you have, oh, let's go back to this one, right? So you have these 200 frames. Imagine this is not 200, this is like 2000. But you would want to go and work on this section, you know, further towards the end of the animation. So right now, even if you just limit your press, you can, by the way, press F6 to limit the timeline to whatever you have selected, to whatever range you have selected. Even if you do this, and for example, I press unbake on this interval, which is just 30 frames, it's still going to calculate everything before that, right? And in the next update already, which is going to be launching in what, like a month and a half, I do not know, maybe less. This is going to be, so you will be only working with the timeline that is visible. So even having like a big animation of say 10,000 frames or above, I'm not sure about above, but I think this opens up, possibilities to do that. You can be working on a small section and it will be quick and fast. It will not take into consideration everything that you had like before, because even if we didn't have any animation before that, it would just be like blank, nothing. It will still be calculating those frames as of now. But it's gonna be different already in the next update. We know about this issue because it's like it makes it very, very difficult to work with bigger files, even if you want to like work in a small interval there. So you have to actually wait for a long time to do that. All right.
Yeah.
So look,
I got some response back from the tech team about calculating the speed. And he says that
he means Roman.
Yeah,
Okay.
Roman. Yeah. So he says that it doesn't exist anything to do that right now, but that it's an easy thing to script, to make in a Python script. And he will look into maybe getting it into the next update of Cascadeur.
Because you see, this thing, like, it exists there, so it already calculates the distances, so it knows how fast things travel, right, within the frames. So it's definitely going to be possible to calculate. Thank you, Roman, for the quick response. All right, now you may be asking why. What are we doing? So what I did here, so I brought in the T-pose from our animation here, and I got it, I actually rigged it, and now for that particular skeleton I have an auto-posing rig. Now what it allows me to do is that now I can retarget the animation with the character with auto-posing onto another character. But first we have to copy the animation that we have there onto our character. Of course, you can go with having this character in your scene. You can, you can just go like File, Import, FBX, and you can set the settings to animation only, so you can just import that file there. Also, there's another way to do this, and it might be useful if you want to just import some part of the animation, for example. So you just select the frames on the timeline that you want to copy. Also, we make sure that we select the flipper guy. Is it the flipper guy? Yeah. So we select his joints, and then we go edit, copy interval, or it's like Control-Shift-C. Now we have 458 frames, so we go to our flipper here. We select enough frames. It can be more than that. You can go like 460. Select everything. Also select all the bones and press Control-Shift-V or paste interval. So this way we just copied the literally the joins animation from one character to another, but the difference is that this one actually has auto-posing. So it means that now we can retarget this character onto any other model which also has auto-posing rig, right? So it can be, your custom model, it can be anything. For me, for example, I'll open up a new scene, and for example here I have a character from, I think that I got in them, I bought from a Epic game store or something like this for Unreal. And again, you can just import your character here. It suggests that you go into the rig mode, and we want this because we do want the auto-posing rig controllers for it. And it's been automatically recognized because I think like the base for this one is Unreal Engine 4 skeleton. So we just add rig elements, and now just with a couple clicks, we have our character here with the auto-posing rig. And now what we can do is that we do pretty much the same thing. So we select the frames that we want to retarget, then go to edit, retargeting, copy. You don't need to select anything other than the range on your timeline. This one we can set to 500, select all the frames, and then go edit, retargeting, paste. So this is the quick way to retarget things in Cascadeur. Now, the cool thing about it is that it doesn't really, the skeletal structure doesn't have to match. It can be different skeletal structure, different proportions. The characters may have, different length of limbs and proportions of the body. When retargeting in Cascadeur, it will take all those things into account. So say if you have a character with longer legs and you retargeted the animation on the character with shorter legs, it will like run, for example, smaller circles, or it will take those things into consideration. So that's the cool thing. And what we have now is this animation here, and now I'm actually seeing something which I don't really like. Fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed. All right. Let's hope it's going to be a quick fix, right? Shall we? Sorry. That's new. I've never seen this happening before.
If this had been Twitch, like, clip it.
Clip it. Well, we can still clip it. Come on. There's going to be our new meme, you know, new pose for the fingers. Why? Is it this? Is it the same here? I don't think it's the same. Did I? I think I know what I did. I think I know what I did. So when actually working with this flipper guy, I think I might have got carried away a little bit, and I mapped the middle finger to the index finger and something like this. So I'm actually sure that you can always, by the way, go to the rig mode, go back to the rig mode, right? And even here we have our animation. We can go back to the rig mode and see how we screwed up mapping things. So it's the left hand, right? So we're looking for thumb, right? Yeah, that's the thumb. Let me see. So index finger, we have index, middle finger, we have middle, ring finger, pinky. Oh, it's everything correct. Why? On the right one, index, middle, ring finger, pinky, all good. Hey, what's going on? But anyways, I think we can fix that. We can fix that once we unbake this whole thing. All right. Interesting, more work for us. Again, now something to really pay attention to, and maybe this was something that I didn't pay attention to, by the way, before the retargeting. So again, there's a lot of things that Cascadeur can help you with, right? Like physics, autoposing, you name it. But the things that you have to pay attention to is actually the fulcrum points. So this whole animation, if we check it's a Control Alt, right? We can go into this this view. So this is something that is not very welcome, and I'm sorry if you can't see it properly, but you know, there's a lot of distance, you know, between the feet and the floor, meaning there's not actual connection between them. So what we want to do before we actually retarget everything, we want to lower the whole animation down, and to do that we just by the way, we can we have like a physics assistant here? I think we can. Nah. Yeah, so if we turn on physics, you can see that it just skyrockets into the air just because there's no fulcrum points, or there's no connection between the floor and the feet. So what we want to do, we want to select the character center of mass, right? We want to select all the frames. We want to enable interval edit mode in the step, not Bezier, because we want to make changes to all the frames at once, and we want to bring the animation down to here. Now you see that now the fulcrum points are correct, and this is the only actual thing that you have to keep your eye out on, because if the fulcrum points are established correctly, it's going to yield very good results with AutoPhysics, with everything. And it makes sense, because when you think about, you know, physics in our world, right, it's just that, you know, the way we shift the center of mass, we actually rest on something. So we always, you know, either sit somewhere or standing, right? So we always balance. This is how we actually navigate the gravity, or you know, stuff. So that's the same thing. So just make sure the fulcrum points are established correctly, and it's gonna be golden. And for this one, now I'm gonna
so questions.
Yes, retarget
Yes.
again. Yeah.
Can Cascadeur be used to make arcane style animation?
Arcane style animation.
Yeah, you have watched Arcane.
Have I?
You have watched Arcane.
You sound very persistent, but you probably know more than I do, so.
Okay, yeah, Arcane. Like, you should just cancel this stream right now and go watch it, because that's some good shit. But either way, well, I think that you are talking about stretching and yeah, squashing, basically. And I think you answered this earlier, but it's like you would set the base of the movement here, and as you can edit the physics to be heavier, lighter, or whatever. So based upon if you want a long jump, a short jump, a big impact, or whatever, with the physics, like to overdo it like you would do in Arcane, to have an impact when you land and stuff like that, and how you swing stuff and get momentum and all that, that you can do in Cascadeur. When it comes to the stretching and squashing, it's more about getting creative with what you have. We haven't seen too much of it, but also we have seen some of it on the channel where they create a workflow. The main aspect of this Cascadeur software has been to be making accurate and realistic animations and then adapting them to what you want them to be, just to kind of sell a walking cycle that actually looks like you're walking and not sliding or look all weird. Like, it's here to help you, but what you do with it afterwards when you got that stuff down, that's up to you. But no, it doesn't have squash per se, and not stretch either.
I've actually heard that you can set up maybe in some way, but yeah, it's not supported. The thing with but something I want to elaborate on is that, you know, it's not just, you know, when you use the terms like physically accurate or things like this, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be just realistic, right? It has to have, you can use physics to just guide you. For example, you don't even have to apply it. You can use it, you know, as a sort of like a guide. For example, say look, this say this animation, right? So I will bring the physics ghost so we could see the difference. For example, we just say we want the character to jump from one foot or to land on the other on one foot or something. So this is the not a good example where. So for example, here the character is standing, right? And we, for example, wanted to raise the foot somewhere here. Again, you can use interval edit mode, Bezier, so it would raise it gradually and then put it down. So what we can do, we can just, you know, raise it, and as you can see, we haven't changed much, but the physics will sort of like guide you, and we say like, okay, so now we're standing on one foot and we want to keep the balance, so this is what it should look like. And again, you don't have to say like, okay, let's snap it and do exactly what physics says. You can just, you know, freeze it, for example, and then you can just take the rest of your character and align it sort of like to match it roughly. So you can use that as a tool to just guide you, rather than, you know, it doesn't have to force, you know, it doesn't have to force physics upon every single animation. But, you know, there's certain things that are really difficult to always keep in mind. So for example, or something like your character is carrying like a very heavy sword, and by carrying a very heavy object, it actually offsets the common center of mass, right? You know, or the combined center of mass between these, between your character and the sword. Why not just play around with the mass and see how it works, right? So you can use it in a sort of like a playful way. And then again, if you want, you know, some edge, you can always go and play with gravity. So you can, for example, set the gravity to a higher value that will give you like much more rapid jumps and much more, you know, sharp movements and stuff like that. Again, you can use that as a reference, and then you can get the base, and then you can play around with it as much as you want, right? So something like that. But this is the point we really want to make, is that we're not forcing everyone to be like super perfect or super correct. Like sometimes you can get into, you know, animating things that are not actually physically possible, and you know, but you can still keep certain like ideas there. So for example, you can, for example, just get a correct ballistic trajectory automatically, or you can get a good consistent like rotation or angular momentum there, which is gonna be, you know, we are, do you know, the same thing with the uncanny valley, right? So we, as you know, people who live on this planet, we are very used to seeing physics all around us, right? And especially when something doesn't really move like it should, you know, we can sort of like spot the thing. It's not going to be like, we will not probably see what's wrong with it, but we will see that something is, you know. And yeah, but you don't have to go all physics if you don't want to. For example, this animation, I don't think we want to go all physics. We want to make like a double backflip instead of like a single backflip, or triple backflip. Who knows? I mean, let's do something with it. But yeah, squash and stretch is impossible. Well, I don't know if it's possible. It's not supported.
Yeah, we also have another question.
Oh my god.
So the question is, I love this question, and I think that was my first question as well. Where can I get one of those Cascadeur logo neon signs?
Well, you should. We should actually. This was the idea. It was custom made, but then once I did it as an experiment, the guys from our team were like, "Oh, we want some as well." So I ordered, you know, 5 more, and actually Veggie is going to get one very soon, I think. Yeah, so I think it looks very nice, looks very neat. We could probably have something like, do you know what, like it could be a prize for something, you know, and we could I don't know, have a contest and get you to win of those ones, or maybe use it as a merch. Why not? Okay.
And who's the cutie on the mic?
I don't know. It's
me neither.
Oh my god, what was the person with multiple names on Game of Thrones? Many faces. Oh, many faces. Yeah, that's also true. Very much about you. All right. So look, the thing that I'm noticing here is that I have this animation at 60 FPS. I don't really want it to be at 60. Let's keep it at 30. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete all these keyframes, and this one is, oh shit, this one is also at 60 FPS. And this one is also at 60 FPS. I have this setting by default. Okay, well, let's play with 60 FPS. All right, now look. So what we have here, this animation. Now let's try something. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to showcase it at 60 FPS. I can try, but okay. So let's select some parts that we want to unbake. Probably this one. This many frames. Now, see, this is what is going to happen. So although I'm just selecting, you know, a section of animation right now, it's gonna still, you know, process much more than, you know, this part here. And in the new version, you could just limit your timeline by pressing F6 to this amount of frames, and you will just be working with this particular piece of animation, which is gonna improve the speed a lot. Now look, with animation unbaking, you do have settings here, and the very important one is the very first one. It says interpolation difference. So the higher the value is, the less keyframes you will get. Now 20 is actually a very significant, well, it's too much. I will suggest that if you want to keep your animation close to, very close to the original, go with 5. Start with 5. If it's too much, then probably go to 10. So 20 is a lot. However, it's going to work. I think it's going to work for this particular animation. Now, even if you set it to 1, it will not mean that it will give you, for example, a keyframe every other frame, right? Still, if you have sections of animation where there's not much going on, it will still have interpolation there rather than the keyframes. So even setting this all the way to 1, the lowest setting, you will still get a decent result. Okay, let's see. All right, we have this one. And as you can see, like, we already lost some of the animation because I think it was like jumping in a different way, especially towards the end. So I'm gonna go set it to 5, I think, and try it again.
Oh, and complex Ace, I think actually you asked earlier, but will AutoPhysics be working on the GPU at some point? To be totally honest, we haven't gotten any specifics on it, just that they are working on a solution on using GPU and CPU. So we will see, but I'm guessing that they would do what's most efficient anyhow. So yeah, like Max says, fingers crossed.
No, but it's not me, it's just this flipper guy says fingers crossed. Yeah, there's definitely gonna be, you know, it's definitely gonna be like one of the next steps to do that. All right, feels like a little bit too many, I would assume. Let's set it to 10 and be done with it. Ooh, now I'm stressing because this thing with double backflip, it's actually a bit of I think it's a fun thing to showcase, but not necessarily the thing that's going to be 100% working every time, especially for this particular animation. So it's like a very particular change that you have to make for it to think that you want to like do those, you know, more of those revolutions in the air. So let's see if we can manage it. I'm just curious. Okay, so we have this. Let's keep it at that for now. I don't like what's happening here. Just a little bit weird. But anyways, we can just focus on, say, this part again. All right, so we have this backflip. First of all, let's see what we can do with fingers. Now, we don't have fingers on a separate layer here, but it's a good idea to actually, if you have some animation in fingers, you would probably want to keep them on a separate layer. But I'm not saying separate layer, separate track actually. But here, okay, let's go and how did it even do this? So we want to select all the frames, we want to enable interval edit mode, and we want to I'm pressing Shift Z to disable. So what I want to do, I want to disable all the points of the hand, oh sorry, all of the fingers, so they would assume their quote-unquote natural position. All right, so, and the same probably for these points as well. We can shift select them and we can press Shift Z, or you know, that's the easiest way to do this. There's something here, I think, auto posing update, and the other one is unlock selected controllers, or Shift Z. You can press this button here. Okay, once again. Yeah, okay, good. I missed one. And that one as well. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. So it does not actually... All right, yeah, this is this looks
Beautiful.
beautiful. Yes. Did you notice that?
Yeah, every time I take a flip, I do the same. Just curl my fingers.
This is cursed at this point. All right. Yeah, so should we have them on a separate layer? That's going to be much easier. But we can still do that. We can still do that. The way to do this real quick, it's going to be like literally a single button in the future, but you can just double click the in the box controller mode. You can just double click the main box of the hand, right? It will select all the fingers there, and then you can just shift click it again. And with that selected, so this is like the left hand, press this thing here, add track, and say like fingers underscore L, right? Okay. Yeah, so if we did it before, if we had done it before, it wouldn't have inherited all this, you see, like all this interpolation from everything, right? So it will have having a separate layer for fingers actually activates the unbaking for fingers separately, so it's a good idea to do that if you have some animation there in the fingers. So they will be, your animation will be unbaked and your fingers will be unbaked separately. So if you have like a lot of stuff going on with fingers, it will not affect the rest of your animation. It will not bring extra keyframes there. But here, let's work with what we've got, and this hand, just really quickly. Add track, and it's gonna be fingers on. All right. You can keep them there, or you can just put them outside like this, just in the scene, to have them separately, to have them on a separate layer. And I think the things that are happening here is the interpolation. So if we set it to I think linear, it should work. Probably. No, still. My god, what if we select all the points of the fingers and copy this position and paste it here? Not in global, but in local mode. Okay, I'm giving up. Another thing, all right, I have a solution. It's called Alt F. Yep. And it's also called the step animation. See, it works. So this is the thing. This is a good idea, by the way, as well. So keeping the fingers on separate layer, it's not there by default, but it's going to be much easier in the future, because we are going to add the function where you can just like press the button and the fingers would be just there on a separate layer. Now, if we had on, I will show you this on, a small interval here. So if we unbake this now, it will unbake with fingers having different keyframes than the rest of the animation. So they will be separated and they will not inherit. Nothing is here. Okay. What's this animation? What have you done, Vigilito? Like, set it to 1. Oh, it wasn't you.
It was fine when I had it.
Oh, okay. Sad that you're not the one streaming. Otherwise, there would have been so much more productive stream. So much fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you can see, like this is just the point. So we have some keyframes for like the character here, right, and interpolations, and then you have a separate thing for the fingers. and because it's still fingers crossed and demonic, actually. But the point is that they don't inherit anything from the arms, from, you know, they don't inherit the interpolation from it, so it's gonna be like a much easier fix there. Right, but we are in a cursed territory. Let's try to do something with the guy here. All right, so we have this backflip, right? Now let's turn on AutoPhysics just to see what's happening. Also with AutoPhysics, you can make it work on a specific interval. So even if you have like everything like this selected, you know, in the viewport, you can just select, you know, the interval that you want to be working on, and you can say like work on interval. It's not going to recalculate everything, you know, that you have. It's going to work on the interval. Now, again, press F6 to get to this view. So what we have here, let's see. So we have on the timeline, you can see that the green line is the green line showcases that we have the character with multiple fulcrum points and in a balanced position. Yellow would mean there's, you know, like it's still the character has fulcrum points, but it's not balanced fully. And orange means there's no fulcrum points. And for AutoPhysics, orange or no fulcrum points means a jump, really. So we jump from here to here, right? So should we want to increase the time in the air, right, the jump, I'm just pressing plus on my keyboard. You will see that, you know, with nothing changes in the gray guy, it just starts slowly getting to that keyframe, but physics builds a accurate ballistic trajectory, meaning if the character spends more time in the air, the jump should be higher, right? We can even add a couple more, because why not? All right, so this is our jump now. And again, we don't have to think about the poses. We don't have to think about, you know, how the character rotates, because the character rotates around its center of mass. So for example, should we make their head like very, very heavy, you will see it's going to rotate like a hammer, right, around the around the head. We can do this later if you want, just to play with it. Now, for example, we have made the jump higher, right? But if you check this out, nothing else changes, right? So the character, just the rest of the animation is pretty much the same. And this is where I really, really wanted to talk about, you know, what actually AutoPhysics do. So the thing that we're using now is called physics corrector, right? It can be on or you can turn it off. For example, if you work, say, just on secondary motion, or if you want to use one of these filters, you don't always have to have the physics corrector on. You can just be good with the animation that you got, and then you can separately work just on adding secondary motion without having to recalculate physics. It's going to be useful, for example, when you sort of like got to the animation that you actually like. It may not be physically accurate. Again, why not, you know, why have it be such? Well, I mean, like, you can just tweak it, but then you can just add secondary motion to that animation without triggering physics, right? Or the physics corrector. So what the physics corrector does, it cares about the character's center of mass. It does not change the poses, right? The poses, it keeps the poses pretty much close to what you have in the keyframes. It just cares about the ballistic trajectories. It cares about inertia. So for example, if you're walking, right, so it's gonna, you know, first start, you know, pushing your body first, and then moving the character's center of mass, and then the character, but it's not going to change the poses. Now, to accommodate for the changes that we've made, we can then turn on smooth trajectory. So what it does now, it makes the trajectory of the center of mass smoother, and it makes it react to the changes in the animation. So for example, the jump now is actually higher than it used to be before. So we can see that the character, you know, squats lower. I don't quite see it here, but let's let's set it to a greater value. Yeah, so the character sort of like squats lower, as you can see here. And then as he lands, he also squats much lower here. And this is the thing that you can use it without the physics corrector, right? So we can say turn off the physics corrector and just have the smooth trajectory. So it's going to work with what we have, but we don't have like a good trajectory here, but it's still going to work, right? But here we do want this, and we want the we want it to react to the changes, getting a little bit bouncy there. Good. Now we have a higher jump, and we have the character react to those things. What else? What else do we want to do? We can try to make this second flip. I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but bear with me. We can try. So the way I did it before, I would put the keyframe somewhere in between here, or maybe even play around with this value, with this one. But let's see. Okay, I'm gonna wing it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So if it doesn't, you can blame Vegelito. If it does, then yeah.
Then you can congratulate me.
No, we can still blame you for the fingers.
Come on. So I swear, guys, that some of the people that work in Cascadeur are actually nice and will be
you wish.
kind.
Especially the ones that butcher your name every time they mention you in the newsletter.
Yeah, and I don't know how many names I have in that newsletter now, but yeah. Let's see if we're gonna make it.
I strongly doubt it, to be honest. There's a very particular setting that you have to do. I know we, for some reason, working at 60 frames. Trying. What we can do, though, it's my process of thinking, would be to give it a little bit more of a... It's not gonna work, is it? Give me a sec. It's gonna be the end of me, this thing.
But I'm wondering, chat, so are most of you or all of you looking into Cascadeur for games, or are anyone like trying to make cinematics, commercials, or like do you have something else, or is it game mainly? And if it's game, what game engine? Because I've seen a good spike in Godot, actually.
Oh,
lately.
that one. Okay.
And yeah, I never used it myself, but yeah, I see it. It's starting to get there. So, okay, film and game. Well, that's exciting. What kind of film? Like commercial? Like, you don't have to tell, I'm just curious. And we have 2 people using Unreal, 3 people using Unreal. And hello, I had an opportunity to reclaim a 2-year indie license, but I missed it. Maybe if I contacted Cascadeur Assist team, I could reclaim it somehow. Well, for those type of questions, you have the Discord server where you can ask them in the technical channel. So, and then the guys will look into it and respond accordingly.
Yeah, I'll just suggest to contact support. Now, look, I went back to the 30 frames per second project, right? Because I know exactly what to do here to make it do the double flip, right? Now, you still want to make it to set the rotation in the air to FK because it just yields better results in the air, except for the hands. But we'll get to them. We'll get to them later. No?
We will
God.
see. Okay, so short film in Unreal Engine. Yeah, that. I'm playing around with stuff like that myself, and it's just lovely.
Is it?
Yeah, the rendering and trying to make it in Unreal, and all the settings and post-processing, and yeah, you can do some amazing stuff. And more people are moving to Unreal.
But this is incredible. I mean, how much things have changed, because I know that I have projects that I started like say 10 years ago, probably when Unreal was not even we were still using V-Ray and everything, and the estimate for those projects where they're just rendering alone would take like months to do, and now it just feels like there's so many opportunities to do stuff real time almost, right? So it's crazy.
Yeah, it definitely is, definitely. And Martin, animations supplement to motion builder and iClone. Okay, so that's a bit more specific.
Yeah. Okay, look, so here, right? So I went to the project with 30 frames per second because that was the original, I think, frame rate for the animation anyways. So we have this double flip here. We have some reaction from, the smooth trajectory filter. So the character squats lower before and after the jump. Now, the next thing to do would be to apply AutoPhysics. Now, you can apply it either to the keyframes only, or you can apply to the whole thing. There's a bit of a trick. If you just want to apply, say, a single pose like that, you can just select this frame, enable interval edit mode, and then snap physics to that particular frame, or to the interval that you select. That could be the way to use physics only on particular interval, right? Yeah, so like that. But what we want to do, we actually want to apply physics to the whole interval that we have here, with smooth trajectory and with everything. What is the gray guy doing there? Okay, crazy. Anyways, and I want to keep the fixed interpolation on, because we don't have enough keyframes here for a double rotation, so it's not going to be able to interpolate it correctly. So we just snap it. Say yes, it's going to reset this stuff. Now, what you see here is almost like quote unquote baked or baked animation. So every single frame, there's no interpolations here. However, the green intervals, you can always turn them into the interpolation intervals, right? You just select the interval and then you can say like, well, instead of fixed, use clamped. And this is the way you can continue to work on it. Or for example, set more keyframes like this to help, once you start interpolating this back again to continue to work on it, you would have more keyframes, so the interpolation would work. However, instead, you can always go back, select all this thing again and again, unbake it once again. So it could be this process of, applying physics, seeing what physics can do, instead of doing this job manually. For example, putting the keyframes on the apex of the jumps or on the lowest points of the animation, you can just trust and Unbaking to do it for you. And as you can see, we got this kind of keyframeage there. Can I say keyframeage? Is that a word?
No, drop it. Another word.
Keyframe stuff.
Oh yeah, so professional.
Keyframe thingy.
Yeah, thingy. That's actually one of my favorites. So get your own.
All right.
his little cousin. I did figure out how to copy data from exported FBX to skeleton action in Blender. So you import the thing and then you go to one of the animation timelines and you can extract the action. Then you add the action. I forgot the exact step, but I sent the info to the Discord. Yeah, okay. I will try to look for that and answer you later. Hi, as a beginner, I exported an animation made in I made to Unity, but it seems like some sort of settings should be applied to make it compatible with Unity. I had troubles with orientation of the character's face. Okay, it might be something with how you set up the humanoid, I guess. Because the bone animation in itself should be exactly as how you made it. Unless you have toggled with some exports. No, that wouldn't even do it. I'm a bit unsure, but if you post stuff like this in the technical, and yeah, then you can drop some picture as well.
All right.
We will respond.
Yeah, look. So this is still a little bit cursed, not as cursed as before. For example, here I know that on these frames the hand breaks. So instead of fixing this again manually, we can just let AutoPhysics or AutoPosing fix it. So for that, we just deactivate these points right on the certain frames and let AutoPosing decide the best position for the hand, right, for the elbow and the shoulder. Now here is another thing that I wanted to show. Now we have this pose that the character takes, right, when they are rotating, and clearly we want the hands to be placed firmly on the knees, because the guy probably grabs his knees, right, when he rotates. Now we only need to set just a single pose here, so let's do it once and then I'll show you how you can copy the position to the rest of the animation there. So let's work on this like that. Get somewhere where we would be happy with it. We can also, by the way, include fingers there as well. Make sure that you work in the local mode with fingers. It just yields better results. Like this, maybe. And the thumb. Okay, not this way. All right, so for example, let's say we like this position for this hand, right? So what we're going to do, I'm going to select all the active points here, including the fingers. Let's do it like this. Now, what I want to do, I want to copy this position onto other frames, right? And we see that the character rotates like crazy. So we want, what we want to do is we want to copy this position relative to a certain point, right? For example, relative to the knee. So we right click with having the point selected, we right click the knee point, right? And then in your settings here, make sure it's set to local mode, is global or local, right? We want to copy it in local mode and make sure that relative to pivot is on. So it's little r up there in the corner. So with this, we can press Ctrl C and copy this pose, then go to the frame that we want to paste it, and still the same. It's like our selection relative to pivot. We press Ctrl V. So regardless of all the like rotation there, it's still like copied relative to pivot. Now we need to make sure that it actually interpolates like that as well, right? So because now it seems like the interpolation is actually IK, and we want it to be FK for the, is it left arm? Yeah, just to show. Oh, it's still FK, but it's Bezier, and we want it to be Bezier clamped, right? Because we want the hand to be on to keep the position there. Okay. By the way, this is another thing. When you have like little intervals like this with only, say, a single frame for interpolation, FK is not going to cut it. FK may give you, really weird results. So it's best to set it to, I think, IK then. Is it? What is going on today?
No.
But seriously, what's going on today? Oh my goodness.
I think I will take over Cascadeur on the next one.
But seriously, no. I don't. Oh, right. Yeah, because I missed the. We have to paste it here. I'm sorry. It was my bad. Yeah. So FK should work, but sometimes with a single frame interpolation, FK may not give the best results. So switching it to IK may actually improve it. Kinda. Alright, so this elbow, don't like the way it looks weird. Also, it kind of feels like the hand is stretching, right? With the shoulder, like that. Shoulder is FK for no reason. Setting FK to shoulders doesn't make any sense. Try this one as FK. Yeah. Okay, we fixed it somehow. Okay. Now, look what we have here. So we want to to paste this into multiple frames. So this is while the character is turning. It's gonna like through all the stages of what was it? Exorcist stages. So you can use another function. You can select multiple frames on your timeline, and then you can paste the things that you copied into every single keyframe. And this function is in the edit, and it's called paste into interval. So it's not like you're pasting interval like the amount of frames that you copied or you paste them, but you paste a certain thing that you copied into every single keyframe. And the shortcut for it is Ctrl-Alt-V. So you don't need to select the interval edit mode. You can just do it like this. Although do make sure that you don't fix the interpolation there. Okay, is today going to be any better? Oh, okay, I forgot the pivot. All right, nice.
Pesh. Is it possible to lower posing effect on a certain part of the body? Yeah, lower auto posing effect. Well, not on a specific part per se, but you could work on intervals and change different variables that would make that happen. But not per se, like, I don't think so that you can change the settings in the middle of something.
Well, with auto posing, say if we just open up anything. Well, the thing is, for example, if you are like, say in the a better example, let's go somewhere here, for example, right? So you have like, this is an unbaked version, and you don't want, for example, auto posing to have any effect. Like, you want to work, you still work with auto posing, but you want it to behave similar, say, to just the point controller. What you can do is you can always go and select all the points, press Shift Z, so activate them all, and this way you can just reduce, like auto posing does really nothing here. So, and then you can say unpin, like enable certain or disable certain points, and they will be taken care of by auto posing. So that could be one of the workflows. But it's not like you're not like gradually making it, saying like, you know, kind of like change the position of the elbow, but like 50%. No, I don't think it's possible. But you can utilize, for example, the copy tool, you know, and you can use the factor value in the copy tool. So for example, if we say this is the position of the foot here, but on the previous frame it was there, so we can copy this position of the foot. If we paste it here with 100%, it will just get it back to the previous frame. But we can set it the factor value to 50 and, for example, copy it with a factor value of 50 or say 25 and get to that place gradually. Okay. I'm not sure if that answers the question, but yeah.
Yeah, and that was exactly what I was going to say, is that if you have a specific example of like what you're trying to achieve, either we have probably a workflow for it, or we have another tool that we are using to achieve it. So yeah, but like feel free to post stuff like this, what you're trying to do in the Discord as well. The tech team is always active. I almost feel sorry for them because they seem to never sleep, but they really yeah.
All right. Roman, go to bed.
Yeah, he goes to bed. Yeah. So like every time before we go to sleep, we try to like get them to go to sleep as well. But yeah, post that stuff and post pictures, and like I love to learn more. And maybe if you have an interesting idea, maybe we can try to figure it out and we both learn. And for Beyond Cinema, for the copy retarget function, does that work with all characters?
It works with all characters with auto posing rig. So if you are able to get the auto posing rig for your character, it will work because it uses that as a medium, say, to transfer the animation between different skeletons and between different skeletal structures. So you definitely need for now, in the reality, it has to be a humanoid character, right? Because you can't get auto posing at this moment for quadruplets and for other characters. And yeah, so it does have to have the rig, the auto posing rig.
Yeah, and Omar, can I share some tests I need to edit and have nowhere to start? No idea where to start. Yeah, feel free to share it in Discord, and like the community there is really helpful, and we are as well. So
we're helpful as well. We're not.
Okay, excuse me. I am, and Max exists.
Yes, I do. I also speak sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
I make promo videos.
Yeah.
I think, guys, we also I do believe we still have a separate chat for on Discord for stream related stuff, so you may post it there. I think it will be much easier, for example, for me to track your posts.
Yeah, that could actually be a thing, since we are controlling the stream.
The stream.
Yeah, but we know that what we have been going through, right? So if we have something, then we have the context as well. And that would be a nice thing that they could do.
I love how people think that they are in control. Delusional.
I love how you think that I'm not in control.
Okay, well, it's another thing.
Is it a full tutorial series on motion cap, please? Well...
That's the question for you.
Well, I'm trying to get Max to make all the tutorial videos, but he's putting it on me. But yeah, we have started a series. and we are working on multiple videos that are coming soon, as well as we are answering the questions that are being commented on those videos as well. So we will have small videos answering and showcasing the issues that are being asked in the Q&A session throughout the comments. So yeah, if you post questions on them, we will get it answered, and more tutorials are on the way. Yeah. Where to find the Discord link?
Can you drop it in the chat,
for me.
please?
Have you really not? Oh yeah, it's actually in the description, but I can drop it. I can drop it in the chat. Drop it like it's hot.
Drop it like it's hot. Sorry. All right, so I think it sort of works for both hands. I actually, it's so this moment here, don't quite understand what's going on there.
Omar, I will share the link and you can tell me what's wrong with it. If you could just make a rendered out video of it, that would be quicker. Otherwise, we might have to come back to you. But you can post a link to the project as well, and I can go through it real fast.
Something that I noticed, by the way, about this animation. So with the way, let me show you this. So the way you can see that the head does not actually, like, once you get into like crazy tricks like this, the head sometimes does not work as it should be, because by default it has some parameter activated, and I'm gonna show you. So we select the points of the head. Why does double clicking on auto-posing doesn't work? Okay, so you have in the object properties, when you select the points of the head, right, and you have something which is called keep global rotation. Now, if you imagine something like a bird, right, so you can move the bird and it always keeps its head like on the same place. This is the similar thing. So it's a good idea to have it in like 90% of animations, because the head would not necessarily inherit all the movements that you have like in your body, right, your neck and everything. And we know that, for example, FK inherits this, right? So so it's set to global rotation to avoid, you know, those it inheriting the movements of the chest, the neck, and everything else. But in the crazy animations like this, it sometimes gives, you know, weird results. So the way to change that is you just select the head, you select the frames, for example, of the jump, and make sure that you apply on selected interval, and on this selected interval just set this value all the way down to 0, and you will see that now just the head simply follows the neck. It still like goes a little bit weird at some point. I think we should have done this before I would bake in the animation, but we can still do this. Okay, something like so. Let me follow this one. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, for the tricks, for crazy spins and for crazy everything, do set this function to 0. Set keep global rotation to 0. Again, you select the points of the head and then keep global rotation. This is the value we're looking for. We want it to be 0 on this interval. Yep. Okay, so what do you think? So we have this stuff here. So what we've done, so we've changed the height of the jump. I think we can have, by the way, about ways, about certain ways you can combine and see the difference between, you know, the before and after. So what I can do is I can go ahead and save this project as say something else. So I can go like cyber guy flip stream, right? Thingy, yeah. YT. YouTube.
You know what I really want to see? I want to see how your hair looked when we started the stream, and after you've been dragging it throughout the stream. The before and after.
The who?
The hair.
The hair?
Your hair. Your hair.
Where exactly? I
Your
hope it's
hair on your head.
Okay, that's very good to know. Does it change though? I started as a mad scientist, and now it's pretty much a mad scientist. So look, what I wanted to show real quick. So we can go to projects, and we can open the project that we had before. Yeah. By the way, if you save a project as a linked scene, it's gonna, like, when you open this project again, it's gonna open all the linked scenes that you have saved. So this is the cyber guy flip. This is something that we're looking for. Now we have so our animation here, and we have the previous animation, and we can link them together and see what has changed. To make sure that we can see the difference, you can change the color of the mesh of the scene that you link. Oops, sorry, come back. Yes. So this is what we ended up with.
Okay, so
no changes here.
Says, why don't the physics sliders stay when we reopen a saved file? To be honest, yeah, so the sliders reset themselves probably.
Do they?
When they are. Yeah, I haven't really paid any notice to it. But like Cascadeur is so fast, so like usually the animation is done on the same day.
Listen, I know for sure that there's do they reset? I thought it was just like with the master versions that we currently have. So every couple of weeks there's a new version coming out, and we're testing it. And those usually have this thing where, you know, your settings will not get saved when you open. But I think like it could be probably, yeah, but it's something, if it's true, then it's going to be something that we are currently working on, because we do want to keep, you know, those settings. Let me test it real quick. Okay, so this one, imagine we have set it to like something like so, and we're gonna save cyber guy YT.
Yeah, and meanwhile, virtual basement. This is what is missing from our pipeline in the wrestling code game. Yes, it is. Get it well, it's hot.
What?
Nah, I don't know who that is, but they're just saying that this is what they're missing. I'm guessing Cascadeur for their specific game.
By the way, very true, it resets. Oh, you will be actually excited to know that the interaction between the characters in the... I'm not sure if that's in the next update, but we did test it, I think, already. So remember how we showed the video where, you know, you have to like combine the character's center of mass and work with the combined center of mass, for example, when the characters sort of like interact with each other or like throwing each other. It's gonna be, this system is gonna get a significant update in the nearest future, I think. I'm not sure about the next release. I'm like, don't quote me on that. Probably not. But we're working on this system where it will automatically understand, you know, the just the same way, for example, the fulcrum points work, you know, when you get them closer to the ground, so they understand there's interaction or collision there. Don't use the word collision, interaction. The same way, you know, the characters can interact with each other, right? So the same way, if someone like grabs you, I don't think there's going to be collision as of yet, but it's definitely gonna, you know, like automatically combine the center of mass and influence both characters at the same time, depending on, you know, how you grip them and how much of this context is there in it. So this system is going to be updated very, very soon. So it's I believe it's going to be much more straightforward and much more useful, especially in the cases where you have, you know, those like wrestlings or, you know, interaction between characters. Everybody's I mean, I myself, I'm really waiting for the collisions to drop. So once there's, for example, auto posing for fingers, and there's collisions actually for the fingers, and you can like just grab onto things and you know, just use auto posing with that, as I think is going to be a killer function, but still in development. Yeah, so look, we can see how things can compare with the previous scene, and at any time we can go back to the scene that we had before, and we can actually say copy the pose from it, paste it in you know, to our character there. So this is the next thing that you can have, you know, close to having layers actually. Now, another thing right now with the scene linking tool, like as you could see, like I linked these two scenes, there's very little things that you can actually do. So you can actually adjust the offset. You can't currently adjust the rotation, but in the next update, so this function is going to be updated to the point where you have these two characters in the scene. Not only will you be able to you know, like move them and rotate them in a better way, you could be able to just click on the characters to switch between them, and you can work, say, on with multiple characters from multiple scenes, like in the same workspace. So you just, instead of going back here and making changes in a different project, you will be just able to, you know, click this character, get the timeline for that character, make adjustments there, click back on your character, and that's still that, all of that will be in the same workspace, which is much more useful than just having the scenes linked and being able to show or to see what's happening in the other scenes. So this is another update I'm actually waiting for, because, you know, especially working with multiple characters is gonna speed up the process even more. Okay, I think
nice.
we do have like, what, 20 minutes left, I think. Do you guys have any requests, maybe something that you want us to show you guys? Because I'm pretty happy with this result. I think it looks good. There's not much more that you can actually fix. So we did fix the position of the character's hands in the fly, the shoulders, the pose in general. Used AutoPhysics. The cool thing, so look, here's the thing. We were able to do this, well, yeah, it's an hour and a half, and we've gone from the very, very, very beginning and then stopped at, you know, the project's being at 60 frames per second. But the thing is, the coolest part is that when working with Mocap specifically, right? So imagine your whole animation is already sort of like physics based, because it was, you know, captured from a person who was in a physics space, right? And when you make changes to that animation, it's very kind of like, sometimes it becomes very obvious that you did make changes because they look just a little bit off, or you just, you know, there's something wrong with the flow or something. So this is where you can use, you know, AutoPhysics just to make changes and make sure they still stay in sync with whatever animation you have. Or you can go, for example, and say, why not? Like, look, with this animation, why not? Let's select this jump and probably set the gravity to a larger, you know, to a larger value, and we can have that, you know, in a different gravity, right? So why not just play around with it? And again, so you can use AutoPhysics without Unbaking. You don't have to do this if you don't need to, but yeah, it's still like something that you can just, why not, right? Can you talk about the copy retargeting function? It's quite nice, but does it work with any bipedal skeleton? Yes, it works with any it works with any character that has that you are able to get the auto-posing rig controller for, right? So the auto-posing rig is something that unifies the character. So I can quickly show you. So this is clearly, like, I think this is Unreal 4 base skeleton. We can definitely just retarget it to a character which was custom made to Cassie, for example, right? So you don't need to select anything. You just go back to the animation that you have. For example, we are interested in this particular flip, so we select the frames on the timeline that we want to retarget. We just go edit retargeting copy, and then with Cassie, by the way, I need to make sure that it's set to 30. Yes, set to 30 FPS. We just need to select enough frames on the timeline. Again, just make sure there's 74. If we select less frames, not the whole animation will be imported. Then we select these frames on the timeline, and we just go edit retargeting paste. I remember that I have a huge robot somewhere, like a huge robot with very, very long legs, and it actually shows very interesting results when you know, retargeting. And by the way, notice that we also retargeted the keyframes. Yeah, the interpolations are baked. I mean, the interpolations are fixed, but we still have, you know, our Cassie character doing the backflip, and it's a completely different skeleton from the Unreal Engine. But the reason it was possible is because both of them have auto-posing rig controllers, right? Now, one more thing I will show you, just because I remember we did. I did promise this in the middle somewhere. Let's see how AutoPhysics works. For example, let's make Cassie's head extremely heavy, right? So you can go into the rig mode, and is it basic or physics settings? Yeah, in the physics settings you have mass in kilograms, so it's now 3.8. Let's set it to 100, because why not? And just exit the rig mode. Now you can see if we turn on AutoPhysics, right? So this is the animation that we have. Now turning on AutoPhysics, and you could see that now it's gonna rotate around its head mostly, just because, you know, like a hammer would, right? So it's and imagine, like, okay, now we just changed the the weight of the head. Well, you may think, like, why did we do this, right? But it could be not the head, it could be, you know, a heavy shield that the character is carrying, or for example a heavy sword or something else. And it can also, like, affect the character's center of mass. It can affect the physics, and this is something that you can, the values of which you can just play around with, get some results. You know, if we like it, we like it. If we don't, we'd go back and change certain things or apply it to a certain degree. So for example, with for example, the mass of the objects will definitely affect the secondary motion, right? And this is another case. So for example, we did change the weight of Cassie's head, right? But maybe I don't want to change the physics there. I only want to add secondary motion to this animation. So in this case, I can at any time switch the physics corrector off, and for example, just turn on secondary motion. And as you can see, it's gonna just keep the physics where it is and just add the layer of, say, secondary motion to your animation. If it's too much, you set it to a lesser value than that, right? And at any point you can go into the you can select the points, for example the points of the hand, right? This is where secondary motion is applied to hands and limbs, hands and legs, basically, if they're not fulcrum. And in the object properties, in the secondary motion tab, you can have these values here. So there's local blending, I assume. It's gonna be, so the value of 100 means there is no effect of secondary motion on this hand in this particular frame, and the low value gives you space for it to work. And then the slider is just like how much of it, like overall, how much of this thing you apply to it. So for example, if we just select these points here, and we say that on this whole interval, on this whole animation, we don't want secondary motion on it at all, we just set it to 100. Please work. And
just because people are asking questions.
People are asking, people have, and you see, like, we just disabled secondary motion, for example, for the hand there. And sorry, just one thing. There's multiple things that there are. For example, there's a thing which is called air friction, which can, there's a fly, which can give you some sort of the feeling of the hand of the object moving through like a thicker air, right? Like in the water or something like this. It's sometimes you can play with this value instead of damping and get that result, for example. Okay, yeah. Questions?
Yeah, so it was one of the questions between iClone and Cascadeur having a connection. I don't know if any of those connections are being talked about yet.
Well, the bridge, something like a bridge, I think we have it for Maya. I don't know if we have something like this for Blender, I don't think. But there's another thing. So there's a bridge, right, which can be a connection, and there's also a link. So a link allows you, like something like a live link, allows you to actually make changes, say in Cascadeur, and see those changes right away in a different software. So this is much more interesting. But for example, the Maya bridge, Autodesk Maya to Cascadeur and back, it was created by Nathaniel, right? Guy who works for us, so it was just like a custom built script, right? So yeah, it's possible someone has to do this.
Yeah, I think that we have a lot of community made scripts as well in the Discord channel where they are sharing. So it's always nice to keep updated on what they made. Maybe they have exactly what you're looking for. What if your rig has muscle, fat, bones, and simulation? Could that be processed as well with the AutoPhysics, or would we still need to bring it back into Maya afterwards? Well, I'm wondering about one thing though, because I don't know where you're making your games, but if you're using Unreal or Unity, why wouldn't you have those kind of simulation in game to make it more interactive? Is my question though. But
it could be just the cinematics. It could be cinematics. Why not? So the rigid bodies that you see here, this is something that is taken into consideration by the physics, right? So we actually, at this particular time, we recommend that you don't, for example, have, just physics rigid bodies for fingers, right? Because they're very small, but they still take up the calculation resources. So you can definitely play around with the weight of certain like body parts or of certain props that you bring in the physics, but you can definitely make, like, if you have like a bodybuilder, you can definitely make, you know, like arms much heavier than the normal ones. You can play with these settings, and again, I showed you that you can go to the like physics settings during the rigging and change the mass there. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. But it's definitely going to be possible to like make an animation in Cascadeur, then export the FBX, bring it back into whatever software you're using, and continue to use your custom rig there, all of your like functions and everything, like blend shapes, what have you. By the way, blend shapes are coming next update. Actually, the support for blend shapes. So it could be like, if there's something set up specifically, say in Maya or whatever software you're using, just know that you can always bring this animation back to it and continue to work with it, or to augment it, you know, with the stuff that you have in the in other software. So yeah.
Yeah. They are also saying that they are using Xsense, which is a really good capture as well. Personally, I've been using OptiTrack, and I've done some Rococo now just to test how much motion capture cleanup Cascadeur can handle, which it's a lot. But
is there a limit?
Let's go. Yeah. Well, we have actually somehow fixed them, but yeah, the process, was it worth it? But yeah, so, but actually mocap cleaning from OptiTrack, which is as good as Xsense, maybe better, maybe not, but yeah, we already released videos on the workflow on that, and we will keep dropping them as well for more specific cases.
Something that I wanted to show here, just on the topic of secondary motion, just to complete it, just to finish it. The way I showed you that you can, for example, disable secondary motion, right, for the arm there on the certain interval. You can do it, like, for example, but what if you have not only like secondary motion, but you have something like compensation motion, and it's still like, it's a separate value for compensation motion as well, which is when the character sort of like, imagine if you're standing on one foot and you try to balance, you know, yourself. So that's where what compensation motion does. It actually involves the limbs that are not contacting with any surface, which are not fulcrum, to kind of like balance your character, to give them, like, if your character jumps and rotates, they will pre-rotate using the arms, for example, and stuff like that. So okay, I'm breaking the system. Anyways, what I'm trying to show you here is that you can keep the settings, for example, for your secondary motion, and you can go to AutoPhysics Apply instead, and then here you can again say keep global rotation or keep global translation. This is the way for you to say, for example, this hand on this frame, just keep global translate, set it to 100, and it's going to be there for this frame. So it's not AutoPhysics will not influence this part of these points on this particular frames. So this could be the way when you, for example, have a lot of like secondary motion or compensation motion, but you have, for example, the character like punching or like making a specific move or coming in contact with something else, and you want that particular frame to be exact, and you can use this like keep global translation, keep global rotation, to make sure that AutoPhysics gets into that particular point at that particular frame. So this is another way that you can, for example, limit it, and then say like, I want this to stay there for this amount of frames, maybe a bit less, like that, without it being affected by secondary motion or compensation motion or anything. So I can just set this value to a 100 on this interval here. And as you can see, for example, coming into it, we will have like the hand is affected by the secondary motion, but once it gets to this point, it gets locked. I think the frame before as well, I think we should have locked it here. Let's do it here as well. So it gets here and now it's locked, and secondary motion does not affect it until, you know, it's unlocked again. So this is another way you can control, have more control over the physics results. Okay.
Yeah, this is my favorite question so far.
This is my favorite fly. Just
okay, so
curious.
Is the retarded feature available in India?
Did you say the R word?
Yeah. Sorry for being childish, but I had to read that.
Not. No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not.
No, it's a pro feature.
Are we gonna get cancelled for this? Are you going to get cancelled for this? It's a pro feature, yes.
Right.
Professional.
Yes, indeed. It's being recorded, right?
It's gonna be.
We're gonna read it now.
It's gonna be clipped and sent to your employers. Okay. No, it's a pro feature, and along with, I think, interaction with environments and scene linking. But both of those things, like the scene linking and interaction with environments, are going to get a significant improvement in the later updates, actually. But by the way, a quick thing. So now, actually, Unbaking only works with characters who have autoposing rig controllers, right? So it's based on autoposing. But from the next update, the unbaking function will work for any character, so they don't have to have autoposing rig. So it could be, you know, animals, it could be quadruplets, it could be, you know, just creatures that you come up with. Unbaking will work for them as well. But the same thing, so you will probably have to keep an eye out on, you know, if it's like an animal, to keep an eye out on fulcrum points still. But it's going to work for animals as well, and for props, because now, for example, should this character have like a sword or something in their hands, it will not actually unbake it. So it will create sort of like, it will keep the keyframes just as the unbaking would, but the interpolation will be fixed like this for this object. So it's going to be able it's going to be possible to also unbake you know, objects and other characters and those that don't have autoposing rig to them. So a big one, I would say.
Nice.
What's the timeline for the next update? So we're thinking like probably end of summer or early September, something like this. That's what I've heard. Again, don't quote me on that. But that's that's something that would be realistic. And I actually don't know for sure about, for example, the character interaction, if it's going to be implemented in the next version or not. You are definitely going to have another slider here, which is going to be like a separation. For example, when the character does a cartwheel, so his body just goes first and then the legs and then the other way around. And this is going to be an automatic feature in AutoPhysics as well. Yep.
Yeah, Virtual Basement says that they would love to be involved in this and have their game be a user case story and showcase for sure.
It's going to be cool. I mean, the more examples out there are, the better, really. I mean, this is the point for Cascadeur where, you know, I think a lot of times people need more cases of use. And if you're able to share that one, we are very, very much looking forward to it. We can even interview that you on that if you want. Because why not?
Yeah. And like for proof of concept, what I'm working on is also fighting related and has a huge library, and Cascadeur is really saving time and upping the quality.
Yep. So what? I think that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. It was quite a ride for me, to be honest, but I'm happy to finally like break the ice on YouTube. And you know, we are thinking about one stream every couple of weeks, but if the time allows, we can stream every week. It's probably going to be Wednesdays, same as probably even same time as today. And yeah, so there's a lot more than that I want to show you, and there's a lot more that, you know, of different animations and examples that we have collected over the years. And yeah, it's gonna be cool to see you guys there, and hope you enjoyed. I hope it was fun. So yeah, clip what
Nice to meet you
Vegelito
all.
said and post it somewhere, then red flag it, report it, and next time we'll have someone else on the stream. So yeah. See you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you guys. Bye bye.